prime time. This is victory. We are the chosen ones. We're making history. We'll show you what we got. Give everything we have. Every sweat, blood, and tear. Every last breath. We put up a fight until the last man, until the last day, until our last dance. We are here, giving everything and more. To seize the opportunity, you know that we will score. This is victory.
Welcome to the place that got its name, Norris, in the 17th century. Welcome to the Norisring. Welcome to the city Nuremberg. It's time for race number 1 for the NXT Gen Cup. After a delay earlier on, of course, we were supposed to have the race, but after a delay for a barrier repair and a spectacular DTM race, it's time now for the NXT Gen Cup. And, well, what a race this will be. We have a new pole sitter, someone who hasn't been on pole before. Benjamin Mazatis was able to grab pole position in the qualifying session earlier on this morning at 8:15. And, well, what a time it was for him, a 1:05.1 blistering lap time, followed quite closely by about 12 cars. The whole top 12 was within 0.8 of a second. Philip Dietrich was only 0.005 of a second behind him, and he is on the front row next to Benjamin Mazatis. Here we go. We do have the starting grid for you. Benjamin Mazatis in P1 ahead of Philip Dietrich in P2 on the first row. Second row of the grid, Maxim Dacha and Lucas Stiefelhagen, the championship leader, down in P4. Row number 3 is Patricia Stalidzana together with Olaf Va. Olaf Va in his first qualifying session for the NXT Gen Cup did quite well. Row number 4 of 9 is Alex Gustafsson and Julian Wörtele. Row 5 is Lennart Wolf and Siri Högfeldt. Once again, Siri grabbing a top 10. Don't forget in this race, top 8 reverse grid for the next one. Bennett Earl and Sean Terre on row number 6. Pit Venanzi in P13. And Theo Vida in 14 on row number 7. Then Andreas Kapfinger and Vera Jurland on row number 8. And row number 9 of the grid is Linda Frey and Vivian Earl. That's our starting grid. My name is Dan Pepels. Next to me in the commentary booth is Sebastian Borghardt. Sebastian, this is a track that has seen several changes throughout the year. And, well, we have now come since the 1970s to a track which looks like it looks today, with the Dutzendteich Kehre all the way at the end of the track. In total, I think the track itself says that there are about 9 corners, or 8 or 9 corners, but I do really see them as just 4, or, well, maybe with a bit of benefit of the doubt, number 5.
It's a lot of flat out on this track, we can say.
Yeah, that's for sure. Here's the gap, though. After qualifying, points awarded in qualifying, 4 points for P1, 2 for P2, and 1 point for P3. That means Dietrich has closed that gap up to 2 points in the championship to our championship leader, Lucas Stiefelhagen. You might ask myself, oh, we are already lights out and underway. That caught us off guard because we didn't see it here in the commentary booth. It's a good start, though, for Benjamin Mazatis. Philip Dietrich alongside him in the E-Car Expo, immediately drawing alongside into turn 1, though, inside Benjamin Mazatis, you would say would be the preferable line. He does keep P1. Look on the inside, though, the orange car of Maxim Dacha looking for a way through in the 67. But as it stands, the top 5 as they were from the line, Mazatis and Dietrich changing for P1, hand over fist. Inside now for the left-hander for Benjamin Mazatis. And finally, those two have fought out. Who's going to lead this race? No, not quite yet, because here comes Philip Dietrich once again on the run into Dinsenkirchen. Once again, last corner of the track, Dutzendteich.
And Dutzendteich now up to second place, has got past Benjamin Mazatis, who's now down to P4. And Lucas Stiefelhagen is looking on the inside as well as Patricia Stalidzana.
Slipstream will be a massive talking point in this race. It already was in qualifying, but in this race it's going to be even more important. As it stands then, across the line for the first time in this race, Philip Dietrich ahead of Maxim Dacha, Stiefelhagen in 3rd, Benjamin Mazatis, our pole sitter, down in P4, Patricia Stalidzana 5th, Wörtele 6th, Olaf Va in 7th, and Alex Gustafsson down in 8th. Inside defended by Philip Dietrich. Maxim Dacha is going to have to try and work together with Philip Dietrich Dietrich in this race to try and at least break away from the chasing pack behind that, who are fighting hand over fist too. Patricia Stolezana has now also gotten past Benjamin Mazatis. Julian Wörtele, next one behind him, but Patricia Stolezana has already taken a second place twice in the NXT Gen Cup. Remember, it was the first woman on the podium, and she's looking to repeat that feat once again here today, or maybe go one better.
We saw on the long straight that the leading group got a bit of a gap, but it was a pile-up into the first hairpin, and Alex Gustafsson and Ola Vai in the pointing car could easily catch up. So yeah, this will also be a key point, the braking into the first corner.
Breaking into the first corner and breaking into Dutzenteich. That will be the main points of focus for these drivers. Of course, the S-curve, the chicane in the middle of the track, not too hard of a braking point. Difficult to make an overtake if you're not already alongside going into it. So the last corner and the first corner, main points of attention for the spectators too. That's where you'll see the overtakes. Patricia Stolezana taking a wider line than really necessary there. I think just, well, choosing safety over just full full push attack at this moment in the race. Philip Dietrich in P1 still ahead of Maxim Dacha. Stiefelhagen looking for a way past though in P3. Wants to at least be second in this race. And you can see that the top four is now breaking away a little bit from Benjamin Mazatis, who's now, well, like I said, dropped back into P5, gotten back past Julian Wörtele. These four are still fighting though, and look what that does to the pack behind that. Immediately closes that back up again. Patricia Stolezana going very wide on the exit of the last corner. Normally, you would say that you want to use all of the track available to you, but you don't really need to at this track.
Oh, in the STFG car, she lost a few meters on Lukas Stiefelhagen. Let's see if she can catch up on the long straight here at Norisring. It's still Dietrich before Dasher, before Stiefelhagen, but Maxim Dasher is looking at our leader, Philip Dietrich.
13 laps this race will be in terms of laps, one of the longest races we'll see on the calendar, if not the longest, with the two yet to come here this weekend. Don't forget, we have two more races, and also keep an eye on Alex Gustafsson at the moment. He will be on the reversed grid pole position for race number 2 later on today. Philip Dietrich, however, still closely followed by Maxim Dacha. Stiefelhagen a little further behind now. There's a little bit of a gap between the top two. If Maxim Dacha's smart here, he's going to work together with Dietrich.
We saw Bennett Earl in the Natiko car was almost caught in the wall there. Very close to the limit, Bennett Earl, as always.
Yeah. And has gone over the limit at Oschersleben a couple of times, so he knows exactly where that limit is this weekend. Did have a bit of a moment in qualifying into turn 1, I think locked the rears, but managed to keep it pointing at least the right direction. And like I said in qualifying, do not forget that this race, this very venue, was of course the place where we had our closest ever finish in the NXT Gen Cup. So if you're on the Steintribune, on the start-finish straight, you're in for an absolute treat here at the finish of this race. It was 37 thousandths of a second last year. You almost couldn't see who won the race when they crossed start-finish. And, well, we're expecting more of the same this year, especially with how this race is unfolding. The front four, I mean, there's basically nothing between them.
No, and it looks like Maxim Dacher is pushing Philip Dietrich down to the last hairpin.
Here we go, Maxim Dacha. This time he has the inside. It's time for Maxim Dacha to lead. It's also time for Lukas Stiefelhagen to follow Maxim Dacha through. And all of a sudden, it's not Dietrich at the front, no. It's Maxim Dacha and then Lukas Stiefelhagen, Philip Dietrich, all the way down now in P3. Patricia Stolezana, though, biding her time in the background.
But can this be strategic? He now has the tow of two cars. No one has used push to pass yet with half the race to go.
It also seems like Benjamin Mazatis is closing back up. Here is that move, a very late move, also from Lukas Stiefelhagen. Philip Dietrich sees him coming, opens the door for him. I think almost thinking that he's not going to make the corner. This was turn 1 a few laps ago. That is Bennett Earl in the red car, the red and white car. Up the inside comes the 21 of Siri Högfeld in the Hexis car. And there's contact between the two, not too much though. Robin is racing, I always say. Philip Dietrich though now having to defend from Patricia Stalizzana. Look at the gap that's opened up to Lucas Stiefenhagen, and also Benjamin Mazatis is closed back up. So it's already looking forward now for Patricia. It's also looking in the mirror to Benjamin Mazatis.
I remember in Oschersleben we had also pretty warm weather and long races, and some of the drivers were complaining about the brakes fading a little bit and the tires not being as grippy as they was in the start later on in the race. Is that what is happening to Philip Dietrich? Because he is struggling to keep up the pace with Maxim Dacher and Lucas Stiefenhagen.
Yeah, it seems like he has overworked those tires just a little bit in the opening phase of this race. We're just over halfway if we finish this lap. Here comes Lucas Stiefenhagen, and here comes Patricia Stalizzana, the inside for turn 1, and up into P3 she goes back onto the podium. And what's next for her? The gap that she has to close is about a second to the two in front. So that's a big ask. But if the two in front of her start fighting like they have been so far, Lucas Stiefenhagen did try a move, remember, into turn 1 on Maxim Dacher. She's going to have an easier time closing up that gap. So the question just is, at the moment, I think, what are the front two going to do? What are Maxim Dacher and Lucas Stiefenhagen going to do? Are they going to work together, seeing the gap they have behind? Or are they going to fight? Or is Lucas Stiefenhagen wanting to go for that pass for the lead?
Hey, it's interesting. In the opening phase of the race, Benjamin Mazatis was falling back. He had a bit of struggle to keep up with the pace in the front. Now he has closed up the gap, and Philip Dietrich has gone the opposite way from the front and back now with Benjamin Mazatis.
Here is that move from Patricia Stalizzana. Stellar move from Patricia up the inside. I think Philip didn't quite expect her there. But yeah, I mean, put that car there. If gap car, I say. And Patricia Stalizzana thought exactly the same. Maxim Dacher still at the front though. Lucas Stiefenhagen in second. Stalizzana third. Dietrich now fourth. Remember, he dropped back from the lead of this race. Benjamin Mazatis has managed to close back up, but also the chasing pack behind that. Look at Alex Gustafsson, for example, now in sixth. Started down in seventh, had a bit of a rough start, let's put it like that. Dropped down into ninth, made his way back up to eighth, and now is back up into sixth and chasing down that pack, fighting for P3 at the moment. Olaf Vaad close behind that too, but Julian Wörtele and Sean Terry, who had better pace than what he showed in qualifying, was held up actually by Patricia on the exit of the S-curve in qualifying. Therefore, he was down on P12. He has made his way up into P9. Siri Högfeldt still hanging on though to a top 10 finish.
And a fight at the top is really, really close. Maxim Dacher holding on to that lead, but Lucas Stiefenhagen, he's working so hard to try to get past. Of course, Lucas won the opening race last year at this exact track.
Yeah, he knows the games that he can play coming out of the last corner. Remember that he was involved in that 37 thousandths of a second difference between himself and Kelvin de Groot. That time he also came across the line first. Kelvin de Groot had to take enough with a P2. Stiefenhagen also, yeah, you can see the differences. There's almost nothing between the two of them, and that's making it also very difficult, I think, for drivers like Patricia and Philip Dietrich and Benjamin Mazatis to catch up to those two. The gap 1.5 seconds. They are quicker than the drivers behind them. Last time round 105.5, 105.6 from Dacher and Stiefenhagen, 105.7 from the chasing pack behind that.
And Patricia Stalizzana now has her mirrors full of Philip Dietrich. He's coming back a little bit, Philip Dietrich, and of course our pole sitter Benjamin Mazatis is on that fifth place, looking to maybe improve from a really good starting position.
What can Alex Gustafsson do is my question, because he's closing up to that battle too. Up the inside goes Philip Dietrich. Is this Patricia Stalizzana letting Philip through, or was that Philip using a push to pass to try and close the gap to the two in front? They did seem to have lost out a bit last time round, last lap. The gap did close up by about 0.2 of a second. Patricia had an out time of 105.6, although that was matched though by Maxim Dacher at the front, also a 105.6. These drivers extremely close in terms of pace. No slipstream though from Maxim Dacher at the front, and I think that makes that lap time even more impressive.
Yeah, Lucas is working really hard to stay in the slipstream, and yeah, he hasn't really been able to make a solid move on Dacher yet.
As we come on to lap number 11 of 13. We're getting into crunch point now, crunch time in this race. 3 more laps to go. If you want to try something and you want to try and run away, your time is now. Maxim Dacha will know that too. He will be keeping an eye on that mirror closely. The further we get into this race, Patricia Stalizzana once again closing up on the braking of turn 1 to Philip Dietrich. Actually, Patricia Stalizzana was quickest in both practice and qualifying in this exact section, the S-curve. That's where Patricia was really, really quick compared to everyone else, was constantly quickest. And you could see how close she is to the barrier. That was agonizingly close to the apex of turn 2, almost touching the barrier on the way into the corner.
Like we saw at Oschersleben, she was mighty in the first sector, a couple of tenths faster than the other of the fastest drivers.
Oh, the pack behind that though, Gustafsson and Olaf Vaa also in a crazy battle. It's Gustafsson still ahead of Olaf Vaa, Wörtele behind that, Chanter caught up in that battle too, and also caught up in it now is Siri Högfeldt. It's... Oh, okay, there we go. Lucas Stiefhagen has decided that with 2 laps to go, it's now time to go for the attack. And this will be the moment where Maxim Dacha and Patricia Stalizzana and Benjamin Mazatis will close up. Mistake from Philip Dietrich, though, a little bit of a lock-up going into the corner. You can see how much they lose by just fighting going into turn 1. Their whole lead of about 1.3 seconds, I think, has shrunk to about 5 tenths of a second. 8 tenths lost going side by side into turn 1. Most crucially, though, Lucas Stiefhagen has taken away the lead from Maxim Dacha. Little wide though to the apex of turn 2. That will compromise him on the run to turn 4, the exit out of turn 3. But it seems like it hasn't done too much. Lucas Stiefhagen, I have a feeling, will lead going on to the last lap.
I think he was playing the waiting game. He has been staying behind Dacher for several laps, and I think he was just waiting for the right moment to put in his attack, and he did it on the second to last lap.
Here comes Olaf Vaa, trying to get past Alex Gustafsson. Here's that change for the lead, though. Crucial this time round. It will be the last lap of the race. Lap number 13 of 13. Up the inside of turn 1. Move was done before they got to the apex. And Lucas Stiefhagen was able to take a normal one into the corner. Inside defended. Look at the background. Benjamin Mazatis coming all the way up the inside. Going straight. Patricia Stalizzana goes through. And Philip Dietrich gets bogged down by it. Back down into P4 at the front of the field though. Lucas Stiefhagen has kept the lead, but with an insane dive bomb from Benjamin Mazatis, all or nothing for the podium, and it didn't quite work out. He's lost all the ground that he gained back on those 2 in front of him, but most crucially it's Patricia Stalizzana now at the front. The question now is who's gonna get the victory? Is it Lucas Stiefhagen or will it be Maxim Dacha? When will they use their push to pass? I have a feeling for sure coming out of the last corner. Wide though for Lucas Stiefhagen. It's gonna be once again a run to the line. Who's gonna get it? Both will use push to pass. I'm quite sure Lucas Stiefhagen seems like he gets the run, and the Dutchman comes through to take victory in race number 1 like he did a year ago. Lucas Stiefhagen wins ahead of Maxim Dacha at the Norisring. Patricia Stalizzana is back onto the podium, and Philip Dietrich is in 4th. Benjamin Mazat is in 5th after that insane dive bomb he tried going into turn 1. Alex Gustafsson finds himself in 6th. Olaf Vaa in 7th. Julian Wörtele crucially in 8th. That will give him reverse grid pole position. Oh my goodness. It was such good awareness by Philip Dietrich seeing Benjamin Mazatis come, but my goodness, oh, that was a second and a half, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, Maxim Dacher was lucky not to get a yellow Vartakor into his side there.
Oi, 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 look at this. That was so extremely close. Philip Dietrich having to slam on the brakes in the middle of the corner. Patricia Stalizzana seeing that coming from a mile off. And that is also racecraft. There was contact even between Maxim Dacha and Lucas Stiefhagen going out of the last corner. Applause from the crowd all around the track, because they have been treated with a race and a half. Once again, NXT Gen Cup performs.
What do you say? Sometimes you gotta lick the stamp and send it, and that's what Benjamin did for sure.
He licked the stamp and sent it, couldn't quite get it stopped. But here, that's not Lucas Stiefhagen, that's Maxim Dacha. Lucas Stiefhagen is right behind that in the ABB car, the number 9. He was driving, of course, the orange car at Oschersleben, if I remember correctly. Here's the result, though, for this race. Lucas Stiefelhagen wins ahead of Maxim Dacha in second, and Patricia Stalizzane back onto the podium. Philip Dietrich in fourth, of Benjamin Masates in fifth, Alex Gustafsson in sixth, Olaf Vaas seventh, and Julian Wörtele in P8. And he will get reverse grid pole position for the race later on today at 19:30 local time. Sean Taylor finishes in 9th ahead of Siri Högveld in 10th, Pit Venanzi in P11, Bennett Earl in 12th, P13 for Lennart Wolf, Theo Vida in 14th, Andreas Kapfinger in 15th, Linda Frey 16th, Vera Jurland in 17th, and Vivian Earl in 18th. Here is our top three, though, at the podium. Lucas Stiefelhagen, of course, another win for him, extends his lead in the championship. There's Patricia Stalizzane, can be happy with that podium. Didn't quite manage to, well, link it up in qualifying. But in the race, it all came through in a P3. She can be happy with that. There's our race director for the NXT Gen Cup congratulating the drivers. And oh boy, is Lucas Stiefelhagen happy with that P1. You can see what it did to his lead in the championship. Back up to 15 points. Here's Patricia Stalizzane with her melee partner. They'll be happy with a podium finish. She'll take her third trophy of the NXT Gen Cup home this weekend. And it doesn't stop there. She has 2 more races to get 2 more trophies. Here's Frederick giving her her water bottle and her cap. And of course a wet towel. It's hot here at the Norisring. A nice 30 degrees out there today. And a track temperature of 38 degrees. And here was that car of Lucas Stiefelhagen, managed to make that move going on to the second last lap of this race. A rear look up. This is going into the last corner. The pressure was on from Maxim Dacha. I thought for a moment we were going to get a run to the finish like we did a year ago in race number 1. But this time, a little less contested for Lucas Stiefelhagen. 2.5 tenths only still the gap. And here's our top 3. Let's listen in.
So, dann würde ich sagen, legen wir los mit der Siegerehrung im NXT Gen Cup. Etwas verspätet.
All right, it's time for the podium in NXT Gen Cup. And of course, third place driver, our third podium in the NXT Gen Cup. Driver of car number 4, it's Patricia Stalizzane. Stellar race from her, good move going into turn 1. And that in the end secured her a spot on the podium. Maxim Dacha finishes P2, lost his lead on the second last lap of the race. But the man who never looked back after that move and increases his lead in the championship, Lucas Stiefelhagen, wins race number 1 here at the Norisring on Saturday. And for that victory, let's listen to the Dutch national anthem. And that was only race number 1. There is more to come from the NXT Gen Cup this weekend. And today, like I said, race number 2 will be later on at 19:30 local time. And here's one of our BMW partners handing out the trophies. Of course, first trophy going to Patricia Stalizzana, her 3rd trophy of the NXT Gen Cup. She's had 2 second-place finishes. She can add a 3rd-place finish to her collection. Maxime Daga also taking home a 2nd place this weekend. Maxime Daga finished on the podium twice last time round at Oschersleben, a win and a 3rd place. And of course, Lucas Stiefelhagen taking home his 2nd win of the season. And Lucas Stiefelhagen has also been on the podium in every race so far. So that's the consistency, just like Kelvin de Groot last year. It's time for champagne for these drivers. For us, it's time to take a bit of a breather after that race. We'll be back at 19:30 local time for race 2 here on Saturday for the NXT Gen Cup. Until then, goodbye. Time. This is victory. We are the chosen ones. We're making history. We'll show you what we got. Give everything we have. Every sweat, blood, and tear. Every last breath. We put up a fight until the last man, until the last day, until our last dance. We are here, giving everything and more. To seize the opportunity, you know that we will score.